Hi, I'm Greg.
Hello, I'm Sheldon, and this is 30-Minute Music Marketing, the show for independent artists and DIY musicians who want to get better at marketing their music. That's you lot. It's a bit of a different opening from our usual show. That's because we're recording the show in a format that will hopefully mean it takes less time to get out.
So we're actually recording this and streaming this live to YouTube. And the other thing that's a little bit unusual is this is the first time we've actually sat together
in the same room for over 2 years. Blimey.
It's about 2.5 years.
Goodness
nearly.
Me. How time has flown.
So yes, hopefully, as I said, this will be a speedier way in getting these to you quicker and faster.
And more regular as well. Today, Greg, we're going to talk about music marketing burnout. As a DIY musician, we're pretty much expected to do everything. We're supposed to write the songs, maybe even record it ourselves, although maybe that's not always a good thing. Let's leave that for the time being. We're expected potentially, to mix it. We're meant to look after every single aspect of music marketing, and it doesn't take a lot in our real lives, whether that's to do with, relationships, family, it could be school, college, or university. It doesn't take a lot for what's happening in real life to throw your music marketing into disarray and to completely steal all the time that you're supposed to have to devote to your music marketing.
Is this almost in response to some of those well-known famous artists who are moaning that they have to do a little bit of work?
It isn't, actually. It was in response to one of my friends who was suffering music marketing burnout. So what I've decided to do is we'll maybe talk about that at the end. I've come up with 5 tips. Well, it's actually 6. It's 5 tips plus a bonus tip right at the end that. To help you, the listener/viewer, get the most from your music marketing and to avoid that burnout. That's the one thing we don't want to happen. So you've got the headlines. Read those headlines. I'll fill it in. Let's go with this week's episode.
Okay. Go on. Tip number 1, and explain more. Get your fans to create your content.
Yeah, right. This is it. I'm discharging your responsibility as an artist and musician in creating the content. How about you let your audience, wherever possible, create your content for you? So,
hang on. You mean give somebody else creative control?
Well, creative control in a certain degree, but if you have an online community such as a Facebook group,
right? Okay.
The thing is that they can engage with each other and talk about you and your music and your gigs without you actually having to be there. So my band has got a Facebook group. It's very active. It's got 2,500 members. It's got some hardcore super fans in there. It's got between 5 to 10 posts per day, and there might be days when I don't even make any sort of posts, but all my fans are engaging with each other and talking about us and our songs and our gigs without us having to be there. So if you can create some sort of online community, it could be a Facebook group, it could be a Discord server, which is just basically like an old style community board sort of affair, then they can do almost like the job of marketing you and your music without you having to do anything.
Didn't 2 people create for you some content per se on BBC Radio 2?
What was that? Sorry, no, you have to explain. I do that many things. I've no idea what you're referring to.
Do you remember the Runcorn gig? And those 2 people came over from Germany.
Ah, yes.
Because when I saw that, I was like, oh, I remember them. They were a nice couple.
Yeah, so we had a couple of fans who came over from Germany to see our show, and they wrote into a show on Radio 2, and I managed to clip that. Yeah, that's sort of similar. But ask for things like fan-created content. So have your fans got any gig footage that they can share, give to you so you can post on your socials? Can they create any sort of art projects, any sort of cover designs or artwork based around your songs or your music? Can anyone out there record themselves playing a cover of your song? I don't know. Maybe you don't know unless you ask them. So that's something. So don't think that the responsibility for creating everything that goes through your social channels relies entirely on you. There could be lots of opportunities where you can reach out to your audience and get them to do the job for you.
Do you quality control any of this?
You might have to quality control. Sometimes it's a case. I get lots of small wee ones dancing to our music and get video sent to me. It's just like, I might not necessarily approve, but it might touch the hearts of the audience. So,
okay.
So yeah. So
fair enough. So that is number one. Get your fans to create your content. So number two.
Yep.
Okay. When I first read this, I misread it, and I was
all the cues.
Okay, so go for quality over quantity when it comes to making content.
Now, the marketing bigwigs that are out there, when we're talking about TikTok, what they like to, they say, you need to be making about 3 to 4 TikToks a day, putting out 3 to 4 TikToks a day. It's like, I haven't got time for that. I don't know who has time for that. And the thing about that sort of strategy is that, that they're going for rapid, this content, maybe one of it will catch fire. Generally, what I've tend to find on TikTok is that stuff that really starts to get viral and get the views, it's the stuff that really engages with somebody. If you're having to create a massive amount of content, you can't give it the TLC that it deserves, and it will just have barely minimal reach, and it won't necessarily do anything. So what I would do is, rather than concentrate on creating loads of things, create less things, but make sure that they have a greater appeal and will resonate with more people. So most platforms work on engagement, Greg. Watch time, likes, comments, and shares. Now, there's one singer that I follow on TikTok, and she has various sort of strands. So like each week she'll do things. She might post stuff where she's singing in a house. There'll be
Is this a well-known singer?
No.
Okay.
You might have maybe tens of thousands of followers on TikTok.
Okay, still
so stuff from gigs, stuff singing in a house, and she's got one particular strand whereby one day a week she will take like a sample and she'll write a song, based around that sample. Obviously, the dog likes it.
Yeah.
But I've noticed out of all the content that she posts, this making a song out of a sample gets like the least, significantly the least amount of views. So if I was her and she was finding doing all this content a hard thing to do, then just basically ditch what doesn't work, do more of the stuff that does. And when you say it like that, it sounds perfectly obvious, doesn't it, really?
Well, yeah.
Because the thing is, here's another example. When I first started doing my TikTok channel, I was doing 1 TikTok a week. So people say 3 to 4 a day. I was doing 1 a week, and it was like a really good one. And, they were getting absolutely fantastic reach. So
why do any more?
Why do any
more? And also possibly dilute what you're doing.
I've started doing more now. I'm lured in, though. They've got me.
Are you doing more as in you're keeping them backed up, or are you just doing more and just putting them...
I'm doing more because they all seem to do good. I mean, I'm not doing I might do 3 a week now.
Okay, all right.
But not 3, not 3 or 4 a day, goodness me.
I just don't know how people, unless that's all they do, because these
younger people, they don't have a life.
Yeah,
they don't have to fix gates and paint walls out and feed cats. They've got the moon on a stick. They can stay up late. Goodness me, I can't stay up past 10 o'clock these days.
Sad times.
Very sad times.
Okay, so number 3. Actually, we'll just reiterate: go for quality over quantity for point number 2. So tip number 3,
yes.
Recycle your old content.
Rather than constantly, burning yourself out making new stuff, find ways to repurpose the stuff that you've already made already. Throwback Thursday, that's still a thing, where you take an old piece of content and show it to people, again, who might not necessarily have seen it. If you're constantly attracting new fans on your socials, you might have posted something 2 years ago, but there might be a significant proportion of your audience that has never sort of seen that. And maybe for the people that have seen that, is there any way that you can recontextualize it? So we recently played a gig at a particular town in the northwest of England, and it would have been possible for me to take a photo from an earlier show when we played that town a couple of years back and told people an interesting tale that they hadn't heard before, based around the exploits when appearing in that particular city, such as the time the drummer was sick on the way to the venue, perhaps, or when the van broke down. I was going to say
there must be many cases where the van broke down.
In many cases where the van broke down, and again, so we could have took something that was existing already in the world, just recontextualize it, put a new sort of slant on it. No need to constantly go around trying to find new things to do. Talking about TikTok again, as invariably
love TikTok. You've gone from years kind of like not dismissing it, but kind of going, yeah, whatever. And now you're like, I love TikTok.
I know. I'm bitten. But the majority of the videos that I post on there, it's not new stuff that we filmed especially. I'd say 80 to 90% of the videos that we post is stuff that I've taken from YouTube, just downloaded it, reformatted it in a vertical form.
I was going to say, you've had to reframe it.
Yeah, reframe it. Captions are always good depending on the type of video.
Yep.
And that's it. I'm not going around filming much in the way of new stuff.
I suppose because it's a new platform, you don't need to come up with new content, because effectively the people who are looking at it are more than likely seeing it as new content anyway.
For the first time.
Yeah.
So don't necessarily don't go crazy in thinking that you have to create some new stuff. If you've been at it for a long time, as a lot of us have, you've probably got an archive and a library of stuff that you can put out there as new.
So there you go. Don't be afraid of recycling your old content, because for new fans, it is new content.
Reduce, recycle, reuse.
There you go. Right. So on number 4 out of 6, although it was supposedly 5, create content in batches.
Now, we've got a setup here, Greg. We've got a light, we've got a camera, we've got a microphone, we've got a computer over there, because this is streaming and uploading as live. That's taken you a bit of time to set up, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
So what it might be clever for us to do is to record a couple of episodes in one go.
Well, didn't we start off doing that?
I think.
And then, unfortunately, life kind of got in the way, didn't it?
But again, if you're time poor, then try and dedicate specific maybe days where in terms of the setup. So you've only got one amount of setup time, and you can record content in batches. So
Well, that's the thing, and also if something takes off, you've got the ability to follow it up pretty quickly and maintain that momentum.
Also, as well, and I'm guilty of this, is if you've got social media channels for your music, you're constantly dipping in throughout the day, every half hour, maybe every hour, maybe, more than that, as the people I live with will testify. Why don't you batch checking your social media channels and leave that for one period in the day? Maybe a period of time in the morning, a period of time in the evening, rather than constantly going in, and because you'll still reply to all the same sort of messages, but it's the distractions that you have which says I've finished checking my messages now. I wonder what else is out there on the wonderful world of socials, and that's what generally eats your time. So if you can just dedicate maybe the time that you're responding to your comments and activity on your social channels, leave that and dedicate that to specific time periods in the day, and then leave it alone. You might find more time can be freed up for other things. Yeah,
so there you go. Create the content in batches. That way, it takes the pressure off. And it's a bit almost like your homework. Don't leave it to the last minute.
Yes.
So number 5. Don't do it all yourself. Get some help. Explain more.
Yes, well, I know, we call ourselves DIY musicians, but as we say often on this podcast, that marketing comes down to 2 elements. It's either going to cost you time or it's going to cost you money. So if you find that you're time poor and everything's increasingly stressing you out, then it may well be that you need to invest in your music career and let someone else take the strain. So, it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody taking over all aspects of your music marketing career. If you're normally filming your own videos and editing your own videos, well, why not pay for somebody to film it and then you just do the editing?
Which is what you do sometimes.
Yeah, or why not do it the other way around? You can film it and someone else can do the editing. You can have people looking after certain aspects of your social media marketing. If you find that you're doing the artwork for your releases, maybe it's time to look to Fiverr and see if you can.
Which you've also done.
Yeah, lots of. I use Fiverr for lots of things.
It's all about being effective with the time. If the time is costing you more than what it would cost to pay someone else to get the job done quicker, then it's
you don't need to build a full-time team, but you can pay modest amounts of money to get people on site to do specific tasks. Again, freeing you up either to do other things,
the fun stuff,
or just put your feet up.
Yep, which actually leads on to our final point. Take a break when you need to.
Yes, if you need to step away or if you need to refresh spiritually and holistically, and if you do need time to put your feet up and smash the Netflix, and if you feel as though that's going to be beneficial for your health, you have to weigh your music career and your well-being. Those have to be in balance. So if you need to take time out or to spend less time doing it, then invest in yourself, Greg.
Yeah. I watched the Pentaverate, which I actually quite liked.
Is it any good?
Yeah, quite liked it.
Somebody said it was chucklesome. Now,
yes, I agree.
Which was again, that's damning with faint praise.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of time. There's plenty of things to kind of also might act as inspiration in other ways.
Oh. So, and again, if you need to tell your audience that you're not going to be around as much, just do it. They'll be fine with that, as long as you're clear. And again, if you've got that facility whereby the community that's been built around your music can more or less entertain yourself, you can even point people to there, and so that the fun carries on in these specific places. So yeah, if you need to take a break, your personal well-being is paramount. And a healthy, happy you is going to be one that continues
to make great content.
Yes, and music.
And music, of course. Yes.
So that was a delicious...
Today was more like a deep dive, wasn't it, really?
No. I think we've got
that
5/6 very pertinent points for people who are feeling potentially a little bit frazzled. Hopefully you've got a couple of ideas there in terms of ways to maybe free up more time and to make you feel generally better and less stressed about marketing your music.
So there you go. Well, hopefully let us know your thoughts on this new format, and we will see you on the next 30-minute music marketing.
You take care.
See you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.